New videos every day.
To begin, I'm going to place both of my hands on Corey's upper back, and I will invite her to take a deep breath with me. Corey, do you want to take a deep breath, please? Okay, one more time. As she exhales, I will begin applying dry pressure with the blades of my hands. I go as slow as the body allows. I'm encouraging and inviting the tissue to unwind and release its grip. If I moved too fast, I would only be creating tension. You see that? She took a nice big breath. Nice. When my hands reach her low back, I'm going to asymmetrically apply a deeper pressure onto her sacrum. Now, it's important for doing this technique that your thumbs are close to the spine. You don't want to be like this. You want to have your thumbs just on the outer edge of your partner's spine. Notice that I'm able to move a little bit quicker this time around. I'm also able to use a little bit more pressure. Although I did just hit a sticky spot. In addition to the muscles that you want to address, the Erector Spinae being close to the spine, it's really important to not ever put heavy pressure in this area, because that's where the floating rib is. Next, I'm going to very, very gently pinch and roll. What this does is this loosens up the fibrous coatings of the muscle. All of our muscles are covered with an interlocking, sticky web of connective tissue. And often, congestion in the muscles has more to do with tension in that fascia or connective tissue than it does with the muscle itself. Later in this video, I'll be showing you guys some really fun scapula or shoulder blade release techniques. Wow, Coret, I really like your tattoo. You know, I've been thinking about getting a tattoo, but I've been saying that for the last 12 years. In fact, I almost got a tattoo on my low back. And then I discovered that there's all sorts of cultural associations with low back tattoos. So I don't know, you guys, do you think I should get a tattoo? And if so, where should I get it? Next, I'm just going to use my fists and make quarter circle motions up and down her low back or her lumbar spine. Before I apply any cream, I'm going to do a very gentle craniosacral hold. There is a system of fluid called craniosacral fluid that protects and covers your brain and spinal cord. And this system is connected, so the fluid that moves around your brain also moves up and down your spine. The sacrum and the occiput bone here at the base of the skull act as bony mechanical pumps circulating this fluid that protects and nourishes your nerves. All right, one final dry warm up. I've had some comments in the past about how the rocking looked rough or aggressive. However, it feels incredibly relaxing. And again, this is a move that allows the body to unwind and release itself. It can be kind of shocking to your client's body to have wet or oily hands suddenly on the skin. So that's why I just rested my hands on her back for a few moments. And with reference to my earlier warning about the floating rib, you can totally do, pressure along the rib cage, just not really intense, focused pressure. Keeping my thumbs on her sacrum to orient and ground. I'm using my knuckles to just swirl the tops of her hip muscles. We have gluteus maximus right here, and over here on the side we have gluteus medius. This muscle on the side is what stabilizes our hips when we take a step and lift the leg off the ground. All right. Since I will be showing you guys some super fun scapula, or I guess scapular release techniques, it will be very important for me to warm up Corey's chest just a little bit. Honey, just relax. When it comes to, oh look, see, she's helping. Honey, are you comfortable enough? Okay. A lot of the times your client, you may not even realize when they start to help. This is in part because the majority of us at a core cellular level don't know how to relax. All right. So the first part of our scapular release, you want to pull your client's shoulder down, straight, keeping their arm against their body. This will allow you to just trace. Next, you do the chicken wing, and you tuck their wrist in next to their hip so that their elbow sticks out. This opens up some of the muscles underneath the scapula. All right. And finally, honey, how does this feel? Feels all right? Now, not everyone will be able to do this. If your client can't comfortably do this, you can modify by just bringing their arm down. And notice how I'm supporting her shoulder. This is going to allow me to really dig into the scapula and its attachments. All right. Thank you, honey. And now for some soothing, effleurage. All right, let's get started. All right, Corey, will you take a breath with me? So my first tip is to just lay your hands on your partner's body and breathe. I like to think of this part as my introduction to the body. Hello, body. How are you? Just like you wouldn't grab an unfamiliar animal. You know, it's you hold your hand out and you allow the animal to check you out and see if they like you or not. Well, it's similar with our animal bodies as humans. My whole goal in giving a massage is to facilitate a sense of safety. See, that was a little too deep. That was too deep, too quick. Corey, I love your nose ring. I'm totally thinking about a facial piercing. I can't decide if I was to get one, if I should get the Marilyn Monroe, or if I should do a nose piercing or a labrae. I know, guys. Do you think I should get a facial piercing And if so, help me decide between a nose ring, a Marilyn Monroe, or a Libre. Maybe I should get a tongue ring. All right. So my second tip for the most awesome chest massage ever is to brace your thumbs against the trapezius muscle, which is that muscle at the top of your shoulders that gets super knotty. Knot, full of knots. And so, this way, you can use your finger pads to warm up the top of the pectoral muscle, or the top of pec major, and also pec minor. But having your thumbs back here is just going to feel really good. So from here, we're going to continue to warm up. I really like doing most of my warm up dry because I have a better grip on the skin and the flesh. When it comes to working the top of the chest, almost as important as pec major is this front third of the deltoid. Now the deltoid muscle is this big muscle on the top of the arm, and it actually performs 3 different functions. The back of the deltoid lifts your arm behind you. The middle deltoid raises the arm vertically, and then the front of the deltoid lifts the arm in front of you. And where pec major attaches is right there close to the deltoid. So making sure that this strong, often overlooked muscle is relaxed. This will help you relax the front of the body. All right, Corey, will you take another breath with me? So if you ever lose your focus in a massage or just start to feel less connected to your client or your friend. I find that taking a breath with them is a great way to come back into the moment. Another reason I'm not using any oil right now. You know, if I was trying to do this, you can see how slowly my thumbs are moving. All right, honey, take a breath. Now, as she exhales, I'm applying a little more pressure. All right, let's do that again. Take a breath. How does this pressure feel to you? Okay. All right, one more breath. All right, so far we've breathed with our client. We've incorporated some trapezius trigger point work. And we're just going very slowly without any oil. And the third tip was addressing the front of the deltoid. So, for my fourth tip, the fourth tip is to use really good communication. So you just wouldn't start doing a pec massage on your client, or at least not one as in-depth as this, unless you guys, have a very established relationship and you're very comfortable with each other. Or, if you guys have a very clear agreement about what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, and why. The chest holds a lot of emotion and stagnant lymph fluid, for all humans. In addition to releasing shoulder pain and neck tension and increasing the capacity to breathe, all of which are some of the amazing benefits of chest massage. You also have the opportunity to create physical and emotional space. Don't be surprised if in the course of a deep chest massage that your friend or your client might start to feel intense emotions particularly those of sadness, grief, or loss. You're also facilitating a cleansing of the lymph system. You have a whole other circulatory system of sorts, of vessels that just carry lymph fluid. This is the body's primary immune system. This is how the body cleans itself, especially the blood. And so, by working the chest and allowing that lymph fluid to flow, you're assisting with immunity and detoxification. So make sure you encourage your client or friend to drink many large glasses of water after this session. If they want to enhance the detoxification effect, they can take a hot bath with a cup or two of Epsom salts. In addition to relaxing the muscles and reducing any tension, or not tension, but just a little soreness that can come from deeper work. The Epsom salts are also detoxifying and will help to pull out any toxins released during the massage. All right, guys. So when you go towards the bottom, or towards the bottom of the pec, you can just trace along the ribs. And you always want to be moving up towards the heart. Okay, so for my final tip, the one that I promised would blow your mind, it is to, just relax, girl. There you go. Let's do that. This tip is to get into the armpit. This is going to allow you to come up. Oh, is that too much pressure? Okay. Up underneath the pectoral muscle. So as you can see, I'm actually grabbing the belly of her pec muscle. Be not afraid of the armpit, for there lies the key to pectoral release. In addition to the relief of shoulder pain and tension. This is an amazing kind of massage to give to somebody. You're literally giving the gift of freedom and space. When your friend or client gets up off the table, there will be more room for them to breathe. So let's review. We just lay our hands on the client and take a breath together. This allows for connection and safety and acts as an introduction to the body. Next, we incorporate the trapezius muscle while using our finger pads to warm up the top of the pecs. Then you always address the front of the deltoid because of its similar action to the pectoral muscle and how close it is to the pectoral attachment. All right. So my first tip is to take a breath with your client. All right, Corey, will you take a deep breath with me? One more time, please. And so now my second tip is to not apply your oil or your cream right away and do some warm-up moves on the dry skin. You're able to actually go a little bit deeper on an unwarmed up back without oil or lotion. And Corey already has some oil on her back, so that wasn't a entirely accurate representation. All right. Aligning your breath, whether with a client or a friend on the table, or with your romantic partner, or your child, or a family member, is a wonderful way to align and connect with somebody. If you literally want to feel close or closer to someone, breathing together is a wonderful way to accomplish that. So my third tip is to use your knuckles. Especially along the sides of the spine and down on the lower back. Coret, will you take a deep breath? For my fourth tip, use your client's exhale when trying to access and address trigger points, knots, or tense areas. I'm going to take my own advice and repeat that with my knuckles. I'm using all right, so I've found the 2 tense spots, and now I'm going to invite Coret to take a deep breath with me. And as she exhales, I'm going to gently lean in. All right, honey, inhale again. And as she exhales, I lean out. Using the breath and going slow and gently, not ever forcing tissue, creates a sense of trust between your client or your friend's body and you. For my 5th tip, I want to encourage you to be as comfortable as you can. Keep your hips over your shoulders as much as possible. Because of the cameras, I can't practice proper body mechanics, but you feeling grounded and stable will help you give a great massage and also prevent you from doing anything silly like tripping and falling onto your client. Ask me how I know that could happen. Our tips were breathe with your client, do some warm-up strokes on a dry back before applying your oil or cream. Use your knuckles. Use your client's breath to address trigger points and knots. And finally, you, the therapist, stay grounded and comfortable. So what I'm doing now is one of my favorite moves. You make Miss Pac-Man hands and just grip with your thumb underneath the trapezius, just this one right here, and your fingers bracing on the shoulder blades. I don't know if you can see my body, but I'm tilting. I'm using my body weight. I'm kind of rocking back and forth. That's called Petrissage. And I know one of my favorite moves is whenever anyone works at the top of my neck. And with your client laying face down, you can very, very gently work the front. Gently just rub the front of their neck or throat. Like don't go all the way to the front of their throat, but just the side of the neck. Once you've warmed up the back of the body, it's entirely appropriate to shift over to your forearms. This is a very simple forearm technique. I'm just letting my elbow drag up her spine. You can let your elbow trace the edge of the scapula. Just drag. And again, I'm using my feet and my back to give this move its power. In closing, I'm going to do a very gentle, wide-handed effleurage. And then super gentle cranial hold. Gently holding the sacrum and the occiput. There's, maybe 5 grams of pressure here. This feels very grounding and balancing to the client and to me, honestly. And so I always hold until I feel the pulses even out between my hands. You may feel some warmth, either from your client's body or, coming from you as you do this move. It's normal, just breathe. Energy's moving. The very first tip, don't go too deep, too quick. You can eventually go very deep in the feet, but it's important to be gentle and slow and to thoroughly warm up the feet before digging in. So I'm going to start out by just moving her ankles around. Just introducing myself to the feet. Oh, we were discussing Corey's nail polish earlier. What color do you think she should paint her toes next? I'm voting for an orange because orange is awesome. But I really like this color. It's like a deep berry wine kind of thing. So anyways, like I was saying, go really slow to start out with. The biggest mistake that I see people do is just, jamming in a finger too quickly. Although this seems to be working out okay. All right, my second tip is the ankle jiggle. Since this is I'm using such a broad surface area, I'm using the blade of my hands. I'm not poking in with fingertips. When you have a broad surface area, the speed and pressure feels incredibly grounding. I have clients who this is all they want. This is one of my favorite moves. I know it doesn't look like I'm doing anything, but if you are familiar with my back massage video in this series, I do a few craniosacral holds where I have one hand on the low back and one hand on the back of her head. Well, this is similar. I'm just feeling her heels in my hands, and I've been waiting for the pulsing in her feet to even out. And so, if you do this at home, you may not feel the pulses right away, or you might feel them. You might. Sometimes people experience energy as heat. For me, it feels like a warm cross between water and air. All right. So, my third tip is to work the tops of the ankles. There's some really juicy spots. For example, there's a little groove right here. If you put a few fingers in there, very gently at first, and brace your thumbs along the arch of the foot, and just kind of move the feet around. You can get some good spots on the arch of the foot. At the same time, as you're addressing the tops of the ankles. Yeah, so let me know what color you think Corey should choose next. I'm feeling very attached to orange, so I think everyone should help me convince Corey that orange is the right color for her toes. I'm going to flip back to tip number 2, the ankle jiggle. And I don't know if you can see this, but I'm putting the meaty part of my thumb into this little groove right here. Because before I had this part down here around her ankles. So I'm moving the pressure just a little bit. Just to help address the top of the foot. So an easy way to help yourself remember to rub the whole foot is to divide the foot into zones. So each toe from top to bottom is a zone. So here we have zone 1, 2, 3, 4, and then zone 5. And so if you start on the outer edge of the heel and just work your way up, there's all of zone 5 or zone 1, zone 5 in reflexology. This is a real, I guess, an extra tip for you guys. This is a really good spot. There's a little bone, and there's this soft tissue that if you just gently strip, you want to be real gentle around the ankle. But a lot of tension builds up right here. I find that working this area allows for better balance. Because people can access the outer edge of their foot with more freedom. All right. For my 4th tip, which it works because we're right here by a little toe is to just take your toe and do this on every toe. And you push in just a little bit, and then you rotate. Push in and rotate in small or large circles in every direction. And now we'll start on zone 2. Notice how I'm rubbing the tops and the bottom of the feet. It is harder to access the tops of the feet because they're just they can be very, very tense. Which is why when I'm using pressure on the soles of the feet, I like to use that opportunity to allow my fingertips to just glide over very gently, trying to loosen up the tissues. It feels really good to go in between the toes as well, on the tops of the feet. And now we do zone 3. And flipping back to tip number 3, see how I'm using my fingertips, still technically in zone 3, just to work this soft spot at the top of the ankle. It's just, there's lots of connective tissue and tendons. There's also a whole bunch of acupressure points all along this top of the ankle, which is why it's super good to work. All right. Well, we might as well review our tips before I show you guys my new favorite awesome trick. So we have go super slow. Don't go too deep, too quick. We have ankle jiggles. We have working this juicy line of tension along the tops of the ankles. And then we have pushing the toes, holding the toes, pushing them in, and doing circles All right, so finally, tip number 5. So you've warmed the foot up, so it's all right to use some specific pressure. What we're going to do is we're going to use our fingertips or our knuckles all along the top ridge of the ball of her foot, right where the toes meet. It's this secret, sneaky tension holding spot. And so as you can see, I am going deep this time. So you can go down like this, and then you can go across. This is a reflexology. These are the reflexology points for the tops of the shoulders. So you could experiment and see, whoever you're giving a foot rub to, you can, feel their shoulders and just see, that knot is really tight right there. And then after you give them a foot rub, while working the super secret shoulder knot destruction area, you'll be able to see if they're not loosened at all. And either way, this is going to open up the toes and give your client or partner more space and mobility, gripping power, so to speak. Alright, you guys, make sure you leave me a comment about what color you think Corey should paint her toes. Team orange or whatever you think. Because we've got a glamorous new massage model here who likes to give herself pedicures. Alright, everyone, thank you so much for joining me. My name is Melissa LaMunyon, and you've been watching part 4 of my beginner's massage series. I hope you'll watch the other videos and stay tuned for the final installment. Consider checking out our Patreon campaign. I hope this relaxed you as much as it did me and Corey. Stay tuned for the final installment of my beginner's massage series. Please be sure to check out the previous videos. And to learn more about me, you can visit sensibletoolbox.com. I hope this relaxed you as much as it did me and Corey. Stay tuned for the final installment of my beginner's massage series. Please be sure to check out the previous videos. And to learn more about me, you can visit sensibletoolbox.com.